You are listening to Waywut? This is a weekly rabbit hole podcast that goes into a variety of topics ranging from the supernatural to sports to science or anything else that we find interesting. We post episodes every Tuesday. We post on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Pandora. Please follow us on any of those. If you prefer video, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you want to talk to us or keep up with any random information we decide to talk about, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever it's called, under @Waywut Podcast. That does it for all the self-promotion stuff. Thank you for listening, and here we go. Hello, and welcome to Waywut. I am today's host, Darrell Holiday, and I am here with the inventor of the Steve Urkel blow-up doll, Jason.
Oh, that's some good credit there.
I'm not going to ask what you did with it, but, as long as you enjoy it.
It sold millions.
To who?
Hey,
Discreet
there was a demand.
Paper bags, packaging.
Yeah, there was a demand for it. People wanted it. And with that intro, I'm really hoping I know what the subject is going to be today.
Yeah, I think you can get an idea. So, but before we get into that,
let's go to the rant.
Even before that, the last episode I did was kind of heavy, so I'm going as light and fluffy as you could possibly get with this. Like, this is a cloud of an episode. There's like no sharp edges, no fish hooks buried in this. It is just, we should be doing all right. Mostly.
This is a children's special.
Not quite. Not quite. I don't think I'll ever be at that point, but all right.
This is the one you could show your grandma.
No, because I'll probably still be dropping some bad words here. Can't help it. I'm hopeless. So, speaking of hopeless, I know I've done an old man rant before, but I'm still old. That hasn't changed.
I'm older, so let's go.
Well, I'd like to start by saying my name is Darrell, and I am a couch potato. It's true. I love TV and I love movies. When we were kids, it was really easy to create a schedule based on the TV schedule.
Yes.
Yeah, so Saturday mornings were a gimme. There were cartoons and wrestling until noon. And possibly some okay movies edited for TV if you were lucky. But, you had the first chunk of your Saturday planned out. It was always going to be the same. After school, probably cartoons until 5 o'clock. And then it was syndicated TV like Charles in Charge, Cosby Show, which, oh no, can't say that. Different Strokes, Punky Brewster.
Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell, yes. And so usually, I had enough to, keep me busy until dinner time. Then you had your regular TV shows, from 7 to 9 with new seasons every fall and spring, and then finally there was like the grown-up shows at 9 and then old reruns at 10, like I Love Lucy and Perry Mason and Twilight Zone, stuff like that.
Yeah, or the news.
Yeah. Sundays, it was football during football season, and if the TV gods just decided to smile upon you that weekend, you might get some all right movies edited for TV.
Sunday night movie, yeah.
Yeah. And that was the life of a kid that didn't have cable in the 80s and 90s.
About 13 channels we had.
Yeah, but you could set a schedule to it. You knew, like, say, on Wednesday night was Wonder Years. But there were certain nights of the week you'd be like, oh, I ain't going to have nothing going on tonight. Whatever, yeah. Or, whatever reruns were hitting on Saturday morning, you're like, oh, I'll be free.
Was you loyal to one channel? Like, would you stay with channel ABC or channel 8?
No, I was a slut. I was a total TV slut. I mean, like I said, I was a couch potato. I mean, I would still play outside and I played with my toys and I would get bored when I'd already seen everything that was on, but I would flip through and whatever cool rerun or cool movie, because you never knew what was going to be on. I mean, you
Right.
did if you like looked ahead, but that
And the TV guide.
that ruins the excitement. But I mean, we've hit a point now where the power of the TV gods is in everyone's hands, and it's too much.
Yeah, way too many options.
Way too many. There's no structure. There's no structure anymore. You can watch whatever you want, whenever you want, and it's easy to get sucked in.
All at once, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is. I mean, I'm terrible, but I watched an entire season, 12-episode season of a show last night.
Those are the times we live.
And I'm certain some people are going to be like, Darrell, you're stupid. There's plenty of times where I can't find anything to watch on Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, Max, Paramount Plus, Apple TV, Peacock, Tubi, and the bazillion other streaming services.
Yeah, there are times where I feel like I spend longer searching for a show than I actually do watching a show.
And I do it too. But I have a theory on this. I think this is your brain's defense. This is your brain that, it's trying to survive. I mean, because I know I get like that. I will pass up 10 things that I've said that I've wanted to watch like a million times, and I still haven't watched it. I just won't be in the mood in that particular moment.
I've said those words.
Yeah, I think that's my brain struggling, saying, get your ass up. We got to just do something, anything. Just get up.
I always hold out for something better. I'm like, oh, that could be good, but I'm going to keep searching to see if I find something better.
And that is where the power of the TV god starts coming in. We got this bottomless bucket of content, and it's just too powerful. And I mean, I'll spend 20 minutes looking through each and every one of those streaming services until I wear my brain's defenses down. Whenever it's finally like, I give up.
I don't even watch TV anymore.
If you want to die, die. Just go ahead and just have your ass grow to the couch, grow roots. I'm done. Speaking of bottomless content, there is a cost to there being so much. TV was kind of an event back in the old days. And it wasn't like a big, I mean, there were some that were big events, like, Who Shot JR and all that. But still, there was buildup and a wait for each new season. There were new lineups that, it's like, okay, well, we got all these new shows popping up. But it was all scheduled and structured.
Everybody watched the same shows, yeah.
Yeah, you had something to go to. Now, I mean, now there's like a content dump at least once a month. And you might get excited about a new season show, but when you get it, you binge it in a few days, and boom, it's gone. You're digging through the streaming services today. It's kind of like seeing like some hot chick, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I gotta have her. You go on a date with her, you sleep with her, and you're like, yeah, that was all right, and you never got to her again.
Yeah, or you're watching
done that, right?
Well, you're watching it at different times than other people are watching it, so you really can't talk about it. Instead of watching one weekly episode, and then everybody talks about that episode until the build up to the next episode.
That's what the internet's for. But of course, if your schedule's a little bit off, you can't get on the internet because it's going to ruin whatever you're going to watch.
True.
I mean, the other thing that we're getting out of this is, we got this whole new level of consumption. The demand is super high. Everybody's always wanting something. And the Hollywood people, it's a business, so they do what they need to do. They produce, but they have to produce faster now. The creative process in the old days had time to cook, but now they have to make it faster and constantly. And how do you do that? You make efficient, repetitive processes. And essentially, what was once a creative process is now an assembly line that needs to keep up with assumptions. This is how we end up with all these formulaic shows where everybody's like, oh, I know exactly how it's going to go. And everything's designed to hit certain marketing stuff because, it's all been boiled down to numbers now because they know to get people to pay monthly subscriptions, they have to keep putting stuff out there. And if they know something hits well, they're just going to be putting out the same crap with different backgrounds, different actors. Essentially the same damn story, though. It's kind of like how the superhero movies, all of them fight at the end, they're all fighting a beam in the sky. We have to stop this beam going to the sky. Like every damn one of them. Once we
All
stop
the
this
shows.
beam going to the sky, these millions of bad guys are all just going to fall down at the same time. It's our only hope.
Yeah, you're right about the shows use all the same formula. You know, you got a lot of the shows with the same idiotic dad. You got the shows with the mother that is overbearing or
We're all knowing.
all-knowing, and everybody's scared of her. And you got the kid who's the boy child who's either a dumbass or a hornball of some sorts.
Or
And
both.
you got and then the older daughter, the sister, who hates the brother and
And is like
is usually
usually
a slut.
really, really good at school. And is kind
Really,
of
really good at school, or is a slut. Yeah.
well, you don't get the sluts quite as much nowadays.
Uh,
I mean,
yeah.
that's why anytime a show that breaks away from that stuff stands out. Like everybody was big on Schitt's Creek because it didn't do exactly that formula. I mean, it was a family of kind of shitty people. Shit. Anyway, or the Barry. Barry was
Barry
different.
was wonderful. Yeah, it was very different.
Yeah, anytime something's different, it makes it stand out so much more. All right, I can go off on this for hours, but to make a long story short, TV was better in the old days, not just in
Agreed.
terms of shows, but in value. It was finite, so it was worth more. Once something's infinite, it's not worth anything. You know, it's kind of like if gold
90s
just
baseball cards.
if gold started falling out of everybody's assholes, the ring that you put on your wife's finger would be worth shit.
Yeah.
See what I did there? Anyway. All right. Speaking of TV from the old days, today's episode is not for young people. You're not really going to get a lot out of this.
No, they may know about the shows, but they probably never seen them.
And it's not because it's naughty. It's because, you know, you're not going to have the same emotional ties to this. Everyone who's watched TV in the 80s and 90s at least knew of ABC's Friday night lineup, TGIF.
Hell yes. 7 o'clock while sitting down, watching TV, ready to roll.
Yep, 7 o'clock.
All 4 episodes.
7 o'clock for us Central Time people. It got all weird from Mountain and Eastern and all that.
Yeah, I'm going to try to keep up with that.
Yeah,
we're the only one that matters. Yeah, we're Central.
That's center of everything.
Center of attention. That's us.
Yep. So for if any of you kids just stuck around, TGIF was a lineup of sitcoms that came on every Friday night from 7 to 9 Central with some of the most popular TV shows that were on at the time. We had Full House, Perfect Strangers, Family Matters, Boy Meets World, Step by Step, and so many others because things would change out, whether something would go downhill or canceled. They or just moved, and they wanted to move an up-and-coming show to try to get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those of us...
Perfect Strangers?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. For those of us who enjoyed watching some, if not all, of those Friday night shows, tonight we're going to check in with the folks that we got to enjoy watching all those decades ago and see how they're doing now. Would you like to join me on this journey, Jason?
Not really.
Oh, yeah. We got no choice.
Yeah. Press down that gas pedal.
All right, we're going to start with an easy one. We'll start with Full House. The show about widower Danny Tanner living in a giant house in San Francisco, which there's really not such a thing in San Francisco, to raise with his college buddy and his brother-in-law as they work together to raise Danny's 3 daughters. That was the whole premise right there. All of the ones that didn't have much of a career after Full House, Candace Cameron, Jodie Sweetin, the chick that played Kimmy Gibbler, all of them are on Fuller House. That's where they are. That's easy.
Yeah. They had one thing going for them. They went back to it.
Well, Candace Cameron technically has gone and done some churchy stuff here and there and Hallmark stuff.
Lifetime channel or whatever.
Yeah. And I saw a billboard not that long ago where she was like going to speak at some church over here.
I think Kirk Cameron, her brother's real big in the church.
Oh, yes. Big time. Now, I did watch the first half of the first season of Fuller House. It was okayish. the thing that surprised me was Kimmy Gibbler was the best one out of all of them.
Really?
Like
Like
fun.
best
She
actor
was
or the
funny.
funny character?
She was funny. The other thing that really I took away from it is Jodie Sweetin, one that played Stephanie Tanner, got
Yeah.
so hot. Oh my god. And her boobs got big. Those were the two things I took from that show. I was like,
They have a
Jesus,
tendency of growing up.
so hot.
They all in the same house still?
Yeah, yes they were.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen what those projections would be if they were real life living in that house? How much that house would actually cost?
Oh, dude, San Francisco, everything like property's insane there, and one of the funniest things is like the exterior shot was always kind of like this townhouse looking thing, real
Yeah,
narrow. But then they go in and it's like practically a damn mansion. Their living room was gigantic, and then they had like a
yeah.
giant basement, and the kids had all
Giant
big
kitchen.
rooms.
Yeah,
Yeah,
got an
big
attic.
kitchen, nice
Yeah.
yard. It's like, bitch, you don't live in no San Francisco.
Mm-mm.
No, yeah, no, they could sell that and live like lottery winners. Like it's one of the reasons we're getting so many California immigrants into
Oh
Texas right
man.
now is they're able to sell like their houses for like a couple million, and you bring a
Well,
couple
they're here
million
by
to
four.
Texas, or like even if you just sell something for like 600,000 there, what you get for 600,000 in California compared to what you get for 600,000 in Texas is like huge. I mean,
Yeah,
you get
big
ton.
upgrade. Yeah.
Although I've got some California neighbors that are moving back to California, and they got this big, nice house, and it's like, what are y'all gonna do? We're gonna live in an apartment. Yeah, guess you're gonna have to. All right, back to Full House. Bob Saget was Danny Tanner, and as a child, I never, ever, ever would have suspected him to be one of the most vulgar and funny comedians that I ever
Yes.
saw. That whenever he popped up in Half Baked when we were
Hot
teenagers,
Coke.
yeah, and he talks about suck a dick for coke. I was like, Danny, no, you
It was
wholesome
shocking.
bastard. Yeah.
Yeah, his stand up is even more shocking, but I
Oh yeah.
agree.
Yeah. He
It's
made jokes
funny.
about banging Kimmy Gibbler while like when she was still a teenager. It's like, damn, dude, he was ruthless.
Yeah, he sang some Irish drinking song that was freaking hilarious.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we know what happened to him. He died back in 2022. He fell down in the bathroom and hit his head and died in his sleep. There seems like it would seem like there'd be more to it, but his
And you say
family,
he died in his sleep after he fell?
yeah, he
So he
so he
didn't die
cracked his head and then he went to
and
bed
bled in his
afterwards
head?
and died.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you would think that there might be some more to it. I mean, COVID was going on at the time and all this other stuff, but his family sued to get a permanent injunction on his autopsy report, so it's never going to see the light of day.
Well, he
Yeah,
must have some stuff in that system,
maybe.
or they just don't want it to be out there.
Yeah. John Stamos, the most popular Greek guy in the entire world. Uncle Jesse. He's
Yep.
still a working actor. He pops up on Fuller House. He was on Glee. He was in
And you?
You.
Yeah, he was great in you.
And he does like a ton of ads. He was on Grey's Anatomy for a while, I think, or something like that. I mean,
And
he
he has a great head of hair.
still does almost as good as mine,
Almost.
almost. Dave Coulier, Uncle
Yeah.
Joey, and by far my least favorite person on that damn show.
Yeah, really?
Yes, absolutely. He's
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 kind of an
been.
odd thumb, yeah.
I didn't think it was funny. I mean, it was just too much. He tried too hard. Uh, well, and then he's doing stand up now. That's what he's focusing
Go
on.
figure.
I don't know if he's any good. I haven't watched any of his stand up because I hated all his jokes on the show, so I have no desire
You
to.
cut it out.
I hate that. And he does some voice work here and there on cartoons, and he's popped into a couple reality shows. I don't know if he's broken the hearts of any more Canadian singers, so that they'll put out like their best album that they ever put out. But
Did you mention him doing America's Home Videos?
it was America. No, Bob Saget did America's Funniest Home Videos, and this is what are they doing now? What were they not? What were they doing back then?
Oh, okay. I
And
thought you
Dave
were
Coulier
going.
was on America's Funniest People with Tawny Katane,
Oh,
chick
but he
from the
did that
White Snake
little.
video.
Didn't he do the
Bullwinkle,
jackalope?
hey.
No, the
No,
jackalope.
no, that was something else. But yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about,
Even
though?
yeah, he always just did voices like this when he did it. It was just like
Yeah.
anybody can do this. It's not that impressive.
I don't know.
Uh,
I can't do it. Pretty impressive to me.
Lori Loughlin, she was Aunt Becky.
Oh
Did
yeah.
plenty of TV work, with lots of it on Hallmark and other family channels, as well as a couple months in prison for wire and mail fraud for paying off people to get her kids into USC.
So that's what people know her for now.
Uh huh.
Hmm.
Then there's the Olsen twins. They played Michelle Tanner, and they're billionaires doing billionaire things, which is probably like coke off of hookers or
Off
you
each
know.
other.
No, no, it's not. I don't know. I don't know if they like each other that much, to be honest. All right.
They want like a clothing line or something, don't they?
They have a lot of they did. I don't know if they still do, but I mean, they made so much money in the '90s and the 2000s that they're set forever. I mean, hell, Mary Kate's drug dealer helped kill Heath Ledger, and it just bounced off of her like it was nothing. But nobody was
Wow.
like, "Oh my God, Mary Kate has a drug dealer." They're like, "Damn, that dude must be making bank. Be a billionaire's drug dealer? Hell yeah!"
Hell yes.
All right, shall we proceed to the next one?
Yes.
A forgotten but good show is next. Perfect Strangers.
Yes.
Loved it. Yeah, nobody ever talks about it anymore. You never catch it on reruns. It was one of the best ones.
Yeah, it
All
was
right.
good.
Perfect Strangers is the story of Larry Appleton moving to Chicago to chase his dream of being a photographer when a distant cousin from the tiny Mediterranean island of Mypos, Balki Bartokamos, shows up on on his front doorstep to come live with him. 80s shows were really something different, weren't they?
Yeah, they're pretty simplistic.
I mean, you hear this premise and everybody's like, that's just ridiculous. Nowadays they're like, no, it's got to be something like, so and so meets their roommate on Craigslist, and it turns out that they're a furry, but deep inside they don't know that that other person's a secret furry. Will they accidentally share each other's butt plugs? Find out on next episode. All right. Yeah, no, cousin Larry and Balky never did that.
No.
This one will be pretty easy because the whole show revolved around those two.
Hmm.
There were some other characters that popped up, and there was their love interests that were eventually around for most of the episodes.
Yeah.
But for the most part, everyone else was pretty much props. They were just there.
Yeah, there was other main actors. None of them stand out.
No. So Mark Lynn Baker, he played Larry Appleton. He never got a big show like that again, where he was like a lead in it. But he did stay busy with guest appearances, small parts in movies, and he did a lot of on and off Broadway productions. One big plus side I love about him: no drama, no arrests, no drug fueled meltdowns, and he isn't driving an ice cream truck like Nicole Eggert from Charles in Charge. That's real. You can see a picture of her sitting there smoking a cigarette, looking all pissed off that she's driving an ice cream truck.
You do what you got to do to survive.
Yeah. Bronson Pinchot, he played Balky. He blew up big during the show.
Yeah, he was
He
great.
fell off like right after. That being said, he was always busy. He was in True Romance, Courage Under Fire. He's even in the new Beverly Hills Cop movie that's coming out called like Axel or whatever.
Huh?
He also took over a role on another TGIF show, but we're going to talk about that later. That comes down. This kind of shocked me. He has narrated over 100 audiobooks with his weird accent.
Oh, in a Balky accent?
I mean, he's French.
I guess I've never heard him speak
I mean,
non-Balky.
yeah. No, I mean, he can do kind of an American accent. It sounds very, like this when he does it, but his regular accent is more, it's very subdued like this. So he also flips houses.
Oh,
I never would have seen him doing that. He's done tons of TV shows. He even had a DIY show that went for 20 episodes back when he was flipping houses. But most importantly, in 2013, he played the Beaver in the classic movie Kung Fu and Titties.
oh man, they went for
I've
one
never seen it.
demographic there.
I've
Yeah,
never
one
seen it,
demographic only. This is for
but
guys.
I want to see it now. I didn't know it existed, but it sounds like something that I need to sit down with like a pen and paper and take notes so I don't get too lost in the plot. With all the characters that I'm sure that are coming in and out of it.
Can you imagine the
Understand their
production meeting for this?
oh
And
yeah,
them sitting around like, we need the demographic of just guys. What do guys like? We know they like titties. Just throw in some kung fu in there too.
I
What should
mean,
the title be?
I wonder what what the call from his agent was like though, where he's just kind of sitting
Got
there
this
and he's
great
working on
role
flipping
play.
a house. He's like sitting there sawing and doing whatever house flippers do, and then he gets that call and he's like, "Hey, I got somebody that wants you in a movie. You don't even have to audition." He's like, "Oh, awesome! It's like the '90s all over again. This is great. What is it? Kung Fu and titties? I'll do it. Please, just anything."
You had me at kung fu.
All right. Then there was a show that I did not realize was a Perfect Stranger spinoff until it had already been on for like 6 or 7 years. Because I just never dawned on me. Family Matters.
Was it Perfect Strangers spinoff?
Mm-hmm.
Because of the cop, the dad?
No. Well, he was in Perfect Strangers a couple times. It was the mom. But
What?
I'll get to that. Will you let me? Will you let me?
Yes.
Will you
Yes,
let
I'm
me?
just
All right.
very anxious.
Family Matters began as this family sitcom about a middle-class black family in Chicago, but eventually it became the Steve Urkel show.
Yep.
Yeah. This show always stood out to me because of the way it would just up and just start changing stuff and pretending like nobody would notice. It was worse about this than any show I ever watched. So Urkel took over out of nowhere. Baby Richie became a full-grown kid from one season to the next. And then, of course, the vanishing of Judy Winslow. She just disappeared. But before we get to that, we will start with Jo Marie Payton. She played Harriet Winslow. Her character was the base of the spinoff. She was an elevator operator where Larry and Balky worked that lived in a giant house with her husband cop who had to be crooked to afford a house that big because no cop should be living that well. I mean, she operated an elevator.
Living in
So,
Chicago.
yeah, so she was all in there and she worked with Larry and Balky and she was sassy and they're like, man, we like this sassy lady. And then Carl would pop up a couple times and boom. But yeah, seriously, a cop that lives in a house that big that he can sit there and house his mom, his sister-in-law, his sister's kid, his 3 kids. He is crooked. He's a dirty ass cop.
He's on the take. He's on the take.
Definitely. All right. So Jo Marie Payton, the one that played Harriet Winslow, she left midway through the last season because she didn't like being on the show anymore. And she went on to do Will and Grace. And she's been consistently on TV and a handful of movies. One of the things that I was a bit surprised to learn about is she almost got into a fist fight with Urkel towards the end. Because
I get he got a big head, yeah.
He got a very big head. I mean, there wasn't a Harriet Winslow doll that you could pull a string on the back and say, "Did I do that?" No.
True.
I mean, he was marketable. I mean, I think he even had cereal named after him at one point. Yeah, there was Urkelos, if I remember right.
Urkelos.
All right. So then we have Reginald VelJohnson, Carl Winslow.
The daddy.
Yep. He began as the lead, and then he kind of got kicked to the side as Urkel's sidekick or his foil.
His nemesis, his op, if you will.
Sometimes they would flip flop. Since Family Matters, he's consistently been on TV and movies. He's been on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Ray Donovan, and tons more. So he's keeping busy. So hooray for him. I love him. He's awesome. Ever since Die Hard, which you wouldn't know.
No, I do know. I just watched it the other day to its completion.
Did you enjoy it?
I did. It was not bad.
Yeah, well, you would have enjoyed it more if you would have watched it at the appropriate time of year. You're supposed to watch Die Hard around Christmas, you idiot. Anyways.
And now I have a proper opinion on is it a Christmas movie or not.
It is.
I mean, I saw Christmas trees. It plays Christmas music at the end.
It's all right.
He comes home for Christmas to make family better.
There we go. So, like, I am a bit. All right, so, movies like Lethal Weapon, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, they both take place at Christmas time. They are action movies that take place at Christmas. They are not Christmas movies. Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and I will stand by that. There's a difference between a movie that takes place at Christmas time and a movie that is a Christmas movie.
I agree.
All right. You're sidetracking me.
I'm sorry.
All right. Then we're going to go to Jaleel White, Steve Urkel.
Stefan.
No, that was whenever he used his formula or that machine and got cool.
Cool.
Yeah, he began as a minor character at the end of season 1. And then from season 2, he rocketed up and just overshadowed the entire rest of the cast.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He went on to do many movies and TV shows. He did movies such as Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus. Urkel Saves Santa.
Urkel Saves Santa.
He did a guest spot on Scooby-Doo. He also has his own weed strain called Purple Urkel.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, there's like, I forget, it was one of those really bad like Logan Paul or Jake Paul fights or whatever. And Snoop Dogg and Jaleel White. Jaleel White was dressed like Urkel, and it was Jaleel White getting stoned with Snoop Dogg. It was really weird.
I bet.
All right, Thelma Hopkins. She played Aunt Rachel, and she's had a bustling career before and after Family Matters. She was even in Matrix Resurrection, which I've refused to watch, but she was in it. Good for her. Outside of all that, she's all about charity stuff. That's what she focuses on. Darius McCrary, he played Eddie Winslow. He went on to do some movies like Saw 6, some TV shows such as The Young and the Restless. He tried his hand at rap, and I don't think that really hit. So he's still doing TV and some movies that aren't even big enough to get a Wikipedia page. He also started his own charity called Father's Care. On a side note, he was arrested in 2015 and 2023 for failure to pay child support.
Oh, man.
Father's Care.
How ironic.
Kelly Williams. She played Laura Winslow. She has a different story as the rest. She hasn't done a whole lot of movies or TV. She seems to do a little just here and there, but for the most part, she's focused on her kids and a charity that she created to help students create TV shows to air on like local on-demand channels, just to get them experience and fire up their creativity. So I was like, wow, that's cool. Rosetta Lenoir, Mother Winslow, she's dead. She died at the age of 90.
On the show.
Yeah, she old then, but she made it all the way to 90. Brighton Williams, he was Richie Crawford. He was Aunt Rachel's kid on there. He's been on The Young and the Restless for the past 20 years. Really? He's done voice work on cartoons. No drama at all in his life. It's one of those really pleasant things where it's like, wow, a child actor that, isn't like sucking dick for coke with Bob Saget. It's like, yay, good job. Speaking of child actors that, suck dick. Jamie Foxworth played the ill-fated Judy Winslow. Her character didn't even get the courtesy of being written off. They just deleted her character after the fourth season. They're just like, yeah, she's just not there. The Winslow just went from having 3 kids to 2 kids, and nobody was supposed to notice because they're like, she doesn't do anything anyways. This did not help her career, but she did appear on Celebrity Rehab and films such as Black Dirty Debutantes, More Black Dirty Debutantes, Hot Girls, Chilling with Jake Steed's Freaks, Hoes, and Flows 25, and
There was
My Baby,
24 prior to that.
yes, and then My Baby Got Back 29.
Holy crap! I gotta
Yeah,
catch
so
up. I only
she
seen 23 of those.
she hopped into porn. I don't know if the titles gave that away.
No, I thought it was children's cartoons.
I got mixed up with Dirty Black Debutantes, the one that was based on the Jane Austen novel, but whatever.
Until you started watching it, you're like, oh, wait a minute.
So I know there are a lot more shows, but I don't want this episode going on forever. It's already over 30 minutes. And I mean, I could sit there and say Boy Meets World, but like seriously, everyone from Boy Meets World went on to do Girl Meets World. So it's like, there you go. All right.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap it up with Step by Step.
Okay.
And this has another big cast, just like Family Matters. So
Yeah.
hold on
20
tight.
people.
Yeah, we got a lot of people to go through. Step by Step was essentially a Brady Bunch retread. Lady with 3 kids marries guy with 3 kids. Kind of like someone else I know. Oh, yeah. Jason, you have too many damn kids.
Slowly getting out of the house.
I mean, at least I guess in yours it wasn't like the three boys, 3 girls thing. It was 5 boys and 1 girl.
Yeah. And that ratio did not work out very well.
No, of course not. So let's get the sad one out of the way first. Suzanne Summers, she played Carol Foster Lambert. 90s, the heyday of the hyphenated names.
Yeah.
She died in 2023 from breast cancer. She'd been fighting it forever. She did what she could, but eventually caught up with her. Patrick Duffy, he played Frank Lambert. He's been working TV constantly. Nothing too popular, but he gets steady paychecks. I always liked him. I liked him on Dallas, and then I liked there. I mean, he kind of did the whole. He was one of the dumb dads, one of the early dumb dads. But it wasn't as mean spirited as it comes off nowadays. Stacey Keenan, she played Dana Foster. She did a little bit of TV and a couple movies, but while doing that, she went to law school, and she's a lawyer and an adjunct professor at Southwestern Law School. So another child star story that did not go terribly wrong. So I thought that was cool. She was the older blonde one.
Yeah. So you don't ever hear about the success story. You always hear about the train wrecks.
I mean, you'll hear about the success stories when they keep acting, but whenever they toss acting aside, there's plenty of them that go out and just become teachers. I think there's like some that, like a dude that went out and became a vet like later. All right, Brandon Cole, he played JT Lambert. During the show, he got into a traffic dispute and got shot in both arms, and it kind of seemed to sour his opinion on being in the spotlight. So he lives a quiet life with his wife while he manages a gas station in San Diego. I don't know which gas station. I've been to San Diego a couple times, and I haven't stumbled across him in one yet. I mean, if I do, I'm be like, "Wow, JT Lambert!"
Is it the Come and Go?
Ha 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 ha.
Well, you've seen those, right?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, yeah, I've seen them. Pretty sure other people have too. Angela Watson, she played Karen Foster. She got locked into an abusive relationship for 20 years. And after finally getting away from it, she's releasing music and appearing at conventions. So she's gone to doing like uplifting songs and signing autographs for people and telling them, like how to not get in relationships where you get the shit beaten out of you. Christine Locken. She played Al Lambert. And first, it must be noted that she got hot. Oh my God. Other than that, she does movies, TV, voice work on video games, cartoons. She does theater. She does audiobooks. She's even directing TV shows, episodes of TV shows for like the Goldbergs and High School Musical, the series. That is the actual name of the show. Christopher Castle. He played Mark Foster. He enjoyed his career as a nerdy kid actor, but after that, he went and focused on school. He teaches political science and history and still looks like an absolute fucking nerd.
He does. What else would he teach?
I don't know. He's like, everything he was in. He was Beethoven, nerd kid. You know, just always just nerd kid.
Little giant.
Yeah. Josh Byrne. He got the Judy Winslow treatment. In the second to last season, he just up and vanished. And that's also how it translates into real life. Nobody knows where he is. He hasn't shown up in any porns. And the last reports on him is he worked at a Renaissance fair. So it's like he became a carny, I guess. I mean, he's just gone.
Acting at a Renaissance fair.
All right, we're going to wrap this up with Sasha Mitchell. He played Cody Lambert, the Code Man. And he got booted from the show and replaced by Balky himself, Bronson Pinchot. Remember?
That lived in the van in the driveway?
Yeah. And then he got fired after being convicted of battery, spousal abuse, and child endangerment. They may have been a bit hasty with convicting him of that, though, because he claims it was because he was protecting his kids from his then very drugged up wife. And it's kind of supported that might have been the case because he's the one that got custody of him. And she got limited visitation. So it kind of sounds true that they just, they pulled like they do nowadays. We're like, oh God, something. But I mean,
somebody alleged you do it, and they're going to fire you.
He got convicted though. I mean, he got convicted of it. So I mean, I guess they didn't wait too long. But yeah, they replaced him with Bronson Pinchot, who played like a weirdo hairstylist that lived in their like driveway. I mean, I don't know. But Sasha went on to do some straight to video movies. But he mainly focuses on bodybuilding now. Working that dad bod and all that. So that's going to do it for a glimpse into the careers of people who once kept people home on Friday nights back in the old days.
Yeah, that was a good little trip down memory lane there.
Yeah, I mean, this is, like I said, last one was super heavy, and I wanted something that was just kind of like fluffy. I mean, this one, there's a couple little things that just ain't so nice in there. But for the most part, it's all happy memories. So it's like, yeah, I remember that. Oh, nostalgia. I feel good. So I'm pretty sure next time, just to counterbalance things, I'll probably bring something that's a little less pleasant all over again. We'll see. I haven't decided. So, I'm going to insert generic catchphrase here and join us next time when Jason will, tell us about some stuff that'll make us say, Waywut.
What?
Waywut. So, bye, dudes.
Later, brah.
Thank you for listening to Waywut. We really appreciate it. Remember that we post episodes every Tuesday and would love for you to rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or Pandora. If you are watching us on YouTube, throw us a comment, subscribe, and do all the other things that YouTube likes for you to do. You can stalk us on Facebook and X/Twitter with the handle Waywut Podcast. Once again, thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit, and join us next time when we'll get you to say, Waywut.